What's happening? Her blood pressure is 53/33. What? Her heart rate is 19 beats per minute. That's impossible. I know, I checked twice. I mean, medically speaking, Fatima shouldn't even be alive right now.
Everyone's celebrating the wrong moment. Fatima reaches into Smiley on that bus, and the town treats it like a win. Smiley screams, drops back into a man. Kenny lives. People are calling it a rescue. I don't think it was a rescue. I think it was a feeding. And I don't mean that as a metaphor. I mean something in this town has been hungry for a vessel its whole existence, and it just found one, and it's wearing a face everybody trusts. By the end of this video, I'm going to make the case that the golem in Colony House was never an accident of Fatima's grief. It was the actual target. Fatima isn't the cure. She isn't even really the one dying anymore. She's the delivery system. Stick with me. Quick version, because if you've seen the breakdowns going around, you already know the shape of it. Fatima reaches down the cord she shares with Smiley, the cord that's existed since she birthed him, and something crosses. He gets handed back a piece of his humanity. She reads dead on a monitor a few minutes later, 53/33, heart rate 19. A corpse's numbers on a woman mid-conversation. Everyone who's clocked that is calling it a one-to-one swap. Her life for his humanity. Tragic, but at least it's contained 2 people, 1 cord, 1 price. Here's where I break from that. A one-to-one trade explains the vitals. It does not explain the golem. Because look at the timing. Fatima isn't building that clay figure as a side hobby while she happens to also be dying. She started it the same season her connection to Smiley opened up, and she told Boyd exactly why she's building it now, in present tense. Mid-crisis, she said it's the only thing that makes her feel strong enough to fight what's still on the other end of that cord. That's not someone processing grief in her spare time, that's someone discharging something. And the only thing in this story that's currently draining out of her, on screen, in real time, is her humanity. So ask the obvious question nobody's asking. If the trade with Smiley is sealed and closed her life out, his humanity back in, why does she need an outlet at all? Why build anything? Unless the cord was never a closed loop between 2 people. Unless it's a line and the golem is sitting at the other end of it too. Here's the harder version of the theory, and I want to be upfront. I'm not hedging this one as just a fun read. I think the show has been building toward this since the figure first appeared in that basement, fully built out of frame, waiting. A golem in every tradition this show is clearly drawing from needs one thing to stand up. Something living has to go into the clay. Not symbolically, literally. A name, a breath, a soul. The myth is explicit that the figure is inert dead weight until that transfer happens. So picture the actual mechanics. Every time Fatima reaches into a monster, 2 things leave her at once, not 1. A piece goes up the cord into the creature, which is what humanizes it. And a piece goes down into the thing she's shaping by hand in the basement at night, which is what's animating it. She thinks she's spending herself on Smiley. She's actually being drained from both ends and only telling herself the story about the half she can see. That reframes everything Kristi's scene with her was actually about. Fatima isn't asking, am I turning into one of those creatures? Because she's confused. She's asking it because that's the only diagnosis she's let herself look at. She hasn't connected the second drain yet. She doesn't know she's also building her own replacement downstairs. And that's the part that should actually scare you, because it means the danger in this story was never really about Fatima slowly losing a fight to Smiley's side of the cord. The danger is a second entity, fully separate from her, growing in real time in the room right below where her family sleeps, and she's the one feeding it, voluntarily, every single time she does something heroic. This is the turn. This is the part I think the more cautious breakdowns are flinching from, and I think it's the actual horror the show is sitting on. A golem built from clay and a name is a blank. A golem built from a woman's hope, her fear, her love for her husband and her kids, her instinct to protect a town full of people who don't even like her. That's not a blank. That's a copy. An incomplete one, sure, But everything that makes Fatima Fatima isn't being erased when it leaves her down that cord, it's being relocated. Which means the question isn't, will the golem rise and turn on the town the way the folklore promises? The question is, rise as what? Because if it's built from the parts of her that loved Ellis, it doesn't have to break down the door. It can walk through it. If it's built from the parts of her that the town already trusts, nobody raises a hand against it until it's already inside their kitchens. The most efficient monster this universe has ever produced wouldn't look like Smiley on that roof. It would look exactly like the woman everyone already lets in the room. And here's the line I can't get past once I saw it. What's currently standing in Fatima's kitchen, talking to Ellis, reassuring her kids, might already be running on less than half a tank. Not because she's about to become something else later, because the transfer's been happening for weeks and nobody's checked how much is actually left in the original. If that's true, the horror isn't coming. It's already happened. Slowly, in scenes the show has been letting us read as tender. The cruelest part of this version isn't what it does to Fatima. It's what it does to Ellis, because it removes the one job he thinks he still has. He spent the season trying to put her back together, trying to get his Fatima back from whatever the pregnancy and the cord have been taking. That only works as a rescue mission if there's a fixed amount of her to recover. A wound he can help heal. But you can't put someone back together if part of her isn't lost, it's relocated downstairs in a shape that's learning to stand. There's no surgery for that. There's no amount of love that pulls a piece of someone back out of a finished vessel. He could do everything right, every episode, and still be loving a woman who's already partially somewhere else, in a body he hasn't met yet, that knows everything he ever told her in private. That's worse than losing her to the creatures in the woods. Those, at least, are strangers in the dark. This would be a stranger, wearing every memory she has of him. So here's where I'm planting the flag, and I'm not hedging it the way I would a maybe. The trade with Smiley was never the main event, it's the visible symptom of a deeper drain that's been filling something in that basement for an entire season. Fatima isn't racing to save people before she turns into a creature. She's racing against a copy of herself that's already further along than she is, built from every good thing she's done, waiting for the day there's more of her downstairs than upstairs. 2 episodes left. The vitals already red like a corpse's. I don't think the question is whether Fatima dies. I think the question is whether anyone in that town will be able to tell the difference when she does. Tell me where I'm wrong, drop it below.